There we go. Sorry, I was having some little technical issues with my volume. Now I can hear you. Welcome to this one time. This could be part of the episode, or another episode. This one time. Or this one time I couldn't get it to work. I'm Jory Wisniewski, and I am the marketing manager at Urban Machine. For those of you who don't know, Urban Machine is a robotics company based in California. And what we do is reclaim wood waste from construction and demolition to have it be able to be reused in another application. And I'm brought to you, we're here today with Eric Law, our CEO. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jerry. Hey, everyone. I'm Eric Law. I'm co-founder and CEO of Urban Machine. We've been on this mission for a year and a half now, building robots to reclaim lumber. We've built 3 engineering prototypes so far, and we're currently building our first production unit that'll roll out here in a couple months, so we can start reclaiming lumber from construction sites and C&D waste facilities, so it can be used to build again.
Yeah. So today, Andrew was supposed to be with us, but he was brought back into the warehouse because we're having another technical, well, not really technical, but a due date issue. And the due date is quickly approaching, and we thought maybe it would be better to have him there. And the whole reason that we're doing this one time is to just have this community of engineers and software, mechanical, and people in the construction industry, a place to talk about these things that go wrong and how we learn from them. Just struggling over here with my technical side. The beauty of a live stream, right? So today's episode is about crashing, burning, and then learning from what happened. And Eric, I learned about this story first when I first started at Urban Machine. I was interviewing each of the people that work there just to learn a little bit about them, what they do. And each time, I think I've said this before, but each time I talked with somebody, they would tell me a different story about something that went wrong, which is how the idea for this show even came to be. But it was Andrew who told me that the very, very first time you guys were doing a major demonstration, things went awry. So set us up. Tell me what happened.
It wasn't even a demonstration. We were just receiving
I'm sorry,
a
not a
truckload
demo.
of lumber. Yeah, it wasn't a demo, thank goodness, right? No, we were receiving a 40-yard tall side. And to put that in perspective, 40 yards of waste lumber rocketing out of a giant trailer. So these trailers are typically 40 to 48 feet long. They're the really massive trucks that you see driving on the road. And they use them to haul waste lumber around. And so we were receiving a load of this from one of our demo contractors, and he said, hey, I'll send you a couple trucks. And the truck rolled into our first shop, and we had, what do we have? We had 25-foot tall ceilings there, 35-foot tall ceilings there. So it was awesome. So we could actually tip the truck in there. And so he hits the hydraulics and starts sending this one end of the truck up, or the trailer. And the wood's not coming out, and Andrew and I are videotaping it and watching it and getting ready for it to dump. And finally the wood lets loose, and probably about 30,000 pounds of dimensional lumber, everything, mostly larger dimensions, so 4x12s, 6x24 glue lamps, just large stuff comes rocketing out of the back of this truck. And it hits the asphalt area that we had laid out for it, and then keeps going right past the layout area and right into our prototype, and smashes into our box steel welded frame. This was prototype number 2. And so this was welded steel. I'd done the welding. I'd gotten my welding skills out and welded up this whole frame. And so you're watching this lumber go crashing into it. And the truck driver looks, he's done, drops his bed and heads out the door. He had no idea what he'd done. And it wasn't really his fault. It was ours. Clearly, we did not leave enough clear area for the slide pattern. but it was a good thing this happened. Startups, people look at us and they go, "Oh, you guys are crazy," and partially we are. But this is how we learn what's going to work and what's not going to work. There is nobody out there processing reclaimed lumber into a finished product at scale. And so you got to go through all these steps to see what's got to change. And so one of our big takeaways from this was, let's not do this in a warehouse, right? Because the material got damaged, fasteners got bent over. So it wasn't just our machine, but all the lumber now had big smashed ends and cracks on it and stuff like that. This was not a good way to move material that we wanted to save.
So wait, let me ask you a question, though, because you've been in the construction industry for a long time. You weren't surprised by the way it was delivered, were you?
Well, surprised by the effects. So typically in the construction industry, we load the trucks, right? We never see the end of it. They go to a landfill or they go to a C&D waste facility and they take care of it from there, right? So I hadn't been exposed to the other end of it, at the C&D facilities. And even there at the C&D facilities, typically they're dumping on dirt, right? And they're just dumping piles and piles and piles, and then there's big loaders and excavators sorting through them and smashing them around. I've never seen one of these dumped on asphalt. And so it was really that asphalt floor that we had there in our shop that created a smooth surface for this material just to slide. We had left plenty of room for it to pile up, but because it came rocketing out and didn't land in a big dirt pile, it went sliding across the floor, which is pretty impressive, right? To see material slide across asphalt into your robot.
So everybody's standing there watching, not just you and Andrew?
I think it was just Andrew and I in the shop that day.
Okay.
This was when it was really just it was me, Andrew, Alex, and Tyler. There was only 4 of us on the team. This was very early days when we took this first load of lumber. And so we had that truck in the morning, and then a second truck is scheduled for the afternoon. And so that truck comes, we're like, okay, we got our lessons learned. We're going to leave a much longer runway, and then we had this other pile of wood in the way, and so we're trying to organize it. And so the second truck driver goes, and he starts tipping up, and he tipped his trailer up a little too high, and he clipped a hydraulic fitting off of his trailer on one of the cross braces. And so suddenly you have a volcano of hydraulic fluid shooting out of this trailer because this fitting had gotten ripped off on a steel cross brace.
I did not know.
And so the bed comes back down, full of wood, right? He didn't get all the way up and didn't get emptied. He didn't anything. The whole shop is hosed down with hydraulic fluid. Luckily, it wasn't our tools where he was parked. It was actually another tenant in the space had a sea container and parts and stuff over there, hosed all that with hydraulic fluid. And so his trailer's done, right? And so he pulls back outside and calls their field mechanic. And so about 3 hours later, the field mechanic shows up, replaces the hydraulic fitting on the truck. He pulls back into the space, goes back up, does it again without clipping the fitting, and empties his load of lumber in the space.
Okay, good.
With trucks, stuff goes wrong a lot of times. It's an interesting experience, and people are like, why do you guys do this, right? And it's part of the startup life, right? Especially in the construction industry. Even when I was on job sites, we had trucks breaking all the time. We had tractors breaking. We had a concrete pumper roll over on a job site that still had concrete in its tubes. And then we had to go retrieve it and pull them back up out of the hole he'd rolled into.
And then you lose a day.
You lose a day. So if anybody wonders why construction schedules are hard, stuff goes wrong.
Right. I mean, human error.
Human error, mechanical error, soil gives way, just stuff happens. And there's a lot of people involved. But for Andrew and I, this was a great learning lesson. We're like, okay, we're not going to do this in a manufacturing facility, and we pivoted to a mobile model, right? And that's what's cool about startups is you look at this and you're like, okay, how do we do this better? And that's probably the big difference between large companies and small companies is, a large company is, okay, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to figure out how not to smash stuff. Small companies like, why don't we change the whole workflow?
Right.
Why don't we do this totally different and take this truck out of the equation? Why are we hauling all this material so many times and touching it? And so we believe we've got a much better path forward.
Just when the wood actually rocketed into the robot, what did you and Andrew do? Like, what was your first response? Because it could have possibly been like, oh, we know what to do now. We'll make it mobile. Like, how did you react in the moment?
It was a bunch of, oh, shit.
Yeah, okay.
Right? It's like, he's got his video camera going. We have it on video and stuff. And we have pictures of it. And it's like, crap. that did not
Oh
go well.
man, we need to, yeah.
And
We'll
it's
have
like,
to add that in a comment for the post audience. We'll have to add that video because that's huge.
the first thing is, is everybody okay, right?
Yeah.
So nobody got injured. Everybody was far enough out of the way. We had that box checked. And then it's starting like, okay, how do we pick this apart and figure out, what did we break, right? Because you've got wood sticking through steel and steel hanging off of wood wrapped into it. And so get the forklift out and start kind of unpacking this mess to figure it out. And then, because we had another truck coming, it's like, okay, we got to get this wood organized and stacked and bundled for the next truck to show up here in a couple hours. So the clock keeps ticking.
Yeah. So you had it all cleared out when the next truck came.
Then,
and so none of the wood got sprayed with the hydraulic fluid.
Yeah, we did have one pile get sprayed with hydraulic fluid.
So then what happened to that wood? Is that,
it's here in
can
the
you
shop.
just clean it and, yeah.
Yeah.
No, not a problem.
It has an extra patina to it.
Okay, there you go.
An extra color to it.
I like the positive spin on it. Gives it a little flair. Okay, so then you guys decide, was it in that moment, like that day, did you say this isn't going to work? We need to make this mobile? Or was this after?
Yeah, it was later that day. After we were thinking about it and chatting some more, we're like, how do we fix this, right? And we're like, we cannot do this in a shop environment.
No.
And so that's when we were talking about it, and that's when we started to come up with the idea of a mobile concept.
Okay.
And hey, let's go do this at the job site.
And how long, like, till you decided on the trailers that we have? And for people who don't know, explain our 40-foot trailers.
Yeah, so the decision to go mobile was made pretty quickly after that, but we didn't have enough engineering work complete to figure out what the dimensions were and just what did that look like, right? Is this 40-foot trailers, 20-foot trailers? What does this look like? So we started with a concept of sea containers. Like, cool, let's put it in a sea container, right? This way it's weathertight, it ships overseas, it becomes this nice modular unit. And so that became a concept for a while. And then we spent some time iterating away on the internal design, right? What does the final footprint of this thing look like? In-feed station, out-feed stations. And so as we made progress on that, that dictated what we were going to do for the trailers, right? How big do these trailers need to be? And so finally, was it October last year? We're like, okay, we have a pretty good idea on our layout. We want to take these things to the field. Trailers are about a 60-day lead time.
Okay.
At that time, we're like, okay, we're going to have to pull the trigger on these if we want to meet our schedule. And so we ended up deciding to go with just flat deck, triple axle, bumper pole trailers. So we could pass wood over them. We needed a clean in and out on these trailers so we couldn't run goosenecks. So we ordered up these two trailers. They're each 40-foot flat decks. Bumper poles, triple axles that are in our shop. They're painted green to match our colors, which was cool. We got to get them custom painted. And then the team is right now building the units that will sit on those trailers. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll actually start to see cells get dropped onto those trailers. And keep in mind, the wreck was December of 21 is when we smashed system number 2 with lumber in our shop.
Right.
So a little over a year ago.
Yeah, and then if I think about it, I started with our machine December 22, and I went to go visit mid-December, and the trailers came right after I was there. So a year later, your good idea from, what you learned from this mistake, not mistake, but you know what I'm saying, accident, came to fruition within a year. That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we had our third prototype that had finished up and being built. And actually, we actually started to take down that third prototype. I think it was in January this year.
Yep.
Right
no, I was still
right
there.
before those trailers.
I got my T-nut certification.
You got your hands. You got your T-nuts. We can do that one time when Jory came to visit, and we had her disassemble prototype number 3. So yeah, we had to take that prototype apart to fit the trailers in the shop to build the fourth machine.
That's right.
So about a year and a half, 3 engineering prototypes. Now we got 2 trailers in there, and our fourth system is being fabricated. So it's been a fun and wild ride. Luckily, we haven't had anything quite that, we'll call it catastrophic since that event. We make mistakes, we break stuff all the time, but nothing quite that big.
Well, and when you're first starting anything, to have the only thing that you have made so far be destroyed, that is a giant headache. I just pulled up a picture of the trailer and try to show it.
Yeah, it probably only set us back by 2 weeks. Yeah, it was whip the welder back out. It didn't destroy any of the tech, lucky for us. It didn't hit the control boards, did not hit the end effectors. It was really mostly just the frame and gantry system that got damaged, which for me, the alignment of these rails was absolutely a pain in the butt, because our shop floor at the old place was not level or flat in any shape or form. So I had to create a leveling system within the steel structure so we could level it out and then get these rails super tight tolerances, which was difficult. And then this thing goes and smashes that all up and twists it, so it's completely out of tolerance. So I had to disassemble the rails, re-weld the steel, get it back to straight and true, and then put the rails back on, and then the cars and the shuttles could ride it again. And then the end effectors could operate on it. So it's about a 2-week setback to get that fixed in place.
Can you see the trailer? I just tried sharing it. No?
No, I don't see any screen share on
All
this.
right, I'm going to stop that then. I was trying to...
It may have. I may just not have a preview for it.
Oh, that could be.
Your screen.
I'm looking on LinkedIn. I don't see it yet either, but I can put it in the comments later. Well, one of the things that I really enjoy about working with this team is that everyone is positive, and you're learning from these mistakes and accidents, and they're almost happy occurrences, because like you said, in a startup, you don't know what you don't know, so you're learning as you're going, and you have to be able to be flexible. I think that's super important.
Yep, and it's better to learn it earlier on, sooner than later, right? It's the later you learn about these lessons, the more expensive it is to change or to pivot, right? So when there's only 4 of you on the team, and you just set up this shop, and you just built this machine, and you're only a couple months into it, it's pretty easy to be flexible.
Right, that's true. And we are hiring, so I think that you can go to, I put Urban Machine's website into the comments here on LinkedIn, urbanmachine.build, and just go to the careers page, and we have a listing of the jobs that are available. Anything you want to tout?
Yes, we're not 4 people anymore, as Jory can attest to. We are, I think we're 8 people right now. And we've got 4 more folks joining us here in the next month, and then we still have some more positions open as well. I think there's a software engineer and a mechanical engineer there on the list, and a shop tech. So actually we got 3 positions open. So we're a growing team. We're based in Oakland, California. We are still based in a warehouse with offices, so you gotta like the industrial settings. But we are construction and technology and solving a sustainability problem.
Yeah, hashtag wood with purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to be at Mass Timber. For those people attending Mass Timber, Eric and I are going to be there with a demo chunk of our robot. So the part that picks the nails out is coming with us. It was actually shipped out today to be on the Portland Convention Center floor on Monday. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks, Eric. It was really, I'm glad I learned even more about this story today. It tells us a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, this is fun, sharing our story, what we're up to. Everybody sees the awards and stuff and the progress on the good side, but, behind the scenes, we make mistakes just like everyone else.
That's so true. So true. Good one to end on. Have a good day. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.